Welcome to Gapology Radio with your hosts Mark Tinas and Brian Brokoff, authors of the leadership development books Gapology, IMBAR, and Speed of Purpose. At Gapology, our purpose is to help leaders achieve their greatest potential. To learn more about our groundbreaking books and training services, visit our website, gapology.org.
Hey everybody, welcome to Gapology Radio. As a reminder, we have a book called Gapology Inspirations, which is a collection of 52 short inspirational stories designed to provide weekly thoughts around how Gapology and the elements from our book might fit into your life. They're quick and fun to read and are a great way to keep focused on your continued leadership growth. They're great to be shared each week with your team too. Pick up a copy on Amazon.com or visit our website, gapology.org, for more details. And as for tonight, we're continuing our series on connection with some thoughts on how you can use our popular tool, the Habit Ladder, to build and solidify your connections with your team. So let's go ahead and get things rolling with Mark Tinas. Hey Mark, how you doing?
Good, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. I think we've got a great topic this week. I'm super excited to talk about one of my favorite topics of all time, which is the Habit Ladder. Last week we touched on, the impact of many of the tools that are in Gapology, and this one is one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Habit Ladder's been incredibly successful wherever it's been used, and for some companies, it's a worldwide, piece of their structure now. The one thing that hits me is we touched on 2 weeks ago, I think, T times M equals P. Yeah. Talent times mindset equals performance. Mm-hmm. Well, the Habit Ladder is all about increasing the talent of your team, and we talked about how that drives up the mindset. So the Habit Ladder is a natural connection tool. So as a leader, if you want a great connection with your team, use the Habit Ladder. It is so natural for that, and it really creates that, just by using it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. When I was putting my notes together for this call, I was really thinking, just all the steps on the Habit Ladder itself build connection individually. But when you put it together as a group, wow. I mean, that really, really can impact how well you connect with your team.
Well, and that's a great point. And I think if a leader thinks about the Habit Ladder as a connection tool in advance, and on purpose uses it as such, it not only creates habit, great execution in the team, but it also creates connection. Mm-hmm. So it can really be used for both. So I think we're actually onto something new that we haven't talked about.
Right. Yeah. I think we've talked about the Habit Ladder many times on this podcast, but, just in our life, I mean, we're always talking about this because there's so many elements here that connect with just, as you develop people, as they're growing in their career, when you train them, but also as they're going through career development, it's such a great tool. But looking at it through the lens of connection is a little bit different.
Different and very empowering and exciting. So
yeah, definitely.
Well, let's jump in.
Okay, sounds good.
So for those of you that are not familiar with the Habit Ladder, again, it's in Gapology. It's an incredibly effective tool to achieve habit level execution in a given process or skill set. And the steps are to communicate, to verify understanding after that, to gain agreement, to provide practice and feedback, and then to achieve habit level. So we're going to walk through each of those individually and talk about how they create a connection. So it's a ladder that goes up and to the right like a staircase, and the bottom of that ladder is communication. And we're going to start there. So can I jump in on this one?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so one of the things that we teach is that most rollouts of processes, as an example, in relation to the Habit Ladder, actually end at communication. The leader communicates the new process. Mm-hmm. I'm all done. See you guys later. I'm going on vacation. Look forward to great execution. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That isn't how it works. So leaders need to run the communication piece here through the lens of connection. What if we viewed it as a way to connect? So communicating can be used in multiple forms. It's not one size fits all. I sent you the email, therefore I've communicated. No, 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 no. That isn't how you create great execution and how you create habit level execution. You need something quite different. So not only can multiple forms of communication be used and likely should be used, you make the decision on which ones are going to be most effective. But in addition to that, you can individualize the communication. So what if your group has veterans and new people? Are they all going to receive the communication the same? So you could have something totally different for new people, as an example, in addition to what they were experienced with the veteran group. So individualized communication and see it through the lens of connection. What a great form of connection to communicate a new process. New processes can be uncomfortable to the team, but if you slow down a bit and communicate effectively, really a game changer, and that creates a connection. It shows that you care about the team. It's an endearing process, and it needs to be viewed differently. So I'll turn it to you on this one. So communication can be connection.
Yeah. I absolutely think this is it's the starting point, right? The entry level to the habit ladder. But I think this is one of those areas that if you really know your team, if you strive to understand who they are, how they learn, how they best like to be communicated with, you're already starting to create that connection with them. And then if you're defining your leadership rhythm around communicating in a way that best connects with your team, that's going to move them up this habit ladder very, very quickly.
Yeah. And again, what you're describing is individualization.
Right. Exactly. Totally.
Not everyone learns the same. So figure that out and look at it, in a variety of different forms.
Yeah.
And again, most rollouts of new processes, as an example, which is something the habit ladder can be used for very effectively, literally end at communication.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why there's gaps.
Right.
And there's a book about, called Gapology that covers all that. I would bet, a huge percentage of gaps are caused right here. We rolled out a new process and we communicated it. And why in the world did you guys not get it? You're the problem. You didn't execute it. That may not be the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing I want to throw in here, Mark, that just occurred to me. We've talked many times on the call about a communication method where you share what the team needs to know, share why it matters, and share what they need to do. Using those 3 steps in your communication is really critical. So consider that also at this level. Think about what they need to know, why it matters, and what they need to do, and roll that into your method of communication.
Yeah, I love that. So structure your communication on a rollout of a new process, as an example, to create a connection and to really set the stage for great execution. So really think it through. Don't rush through it. It's not a one and done. It isn't how it works. Many times, Brian and I have found that the top performer is not the one that got it first. They got it best over time, and they become the top performer. So it's something that needs to be taken very seriously.
Yep.
All right. So the next step on the habit ladder is to verify understanding. This one is huge. Picture yourself in their seat, in their shoes. It feels great to say, "Oh, I get it. I really get it." Well, when they get to that point and they're excited about getting it, that's because you've made a connection with them and you've verified their understanding. So not only have you communicated it, but you have verified that they're there, that they get it. I mean, that can be a form of celebration. This is huge, and it can be used as a tool for connection with the team.
Yeah, I think there's many ways to validate understanding. First of all, of course, asking great questions, asking probing questions to just dig a little bit deeper into their understanding. Look for comprehension, try to read body language and that kind of thing. There's also other things, of course, like testing. But I think one of the best ways is really to start observing performance to ensure that they really understand. So as they're starting to execute, really dig in there and really look for performance as proof of understanding.
Yeah, and again, verification of their understanding can be a form of celebration. You can make
Sure.
an event out of it. And I wrote down this could be a T-shirt, Brian. I don't know if we can do that.
Okay.
Might be a good idea. Celebrate but verify.
Okay. Yeah.
Celebrate but verify. But again, it feels good when you suddenly get it. You finally got it. It feels good. So don't forget that. The team likes that. They want that. So you're, as the leader, you're in charge of getting them there to the point where they get it. And you verified their understanding and celebrated that piece. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So the next step, the third step of the 5 is to gain their agreement. This is big. Agreement is a form of connection. Picture it as a handshake. It's a connection. I agree to do this. The other thing that it creates is ownership. You're transferring ownership. That handshake is transferring ownership to them. They've heard it and understand it. You've verified that. And now you've given it to them to own. You've got their agreement to own this process, using that as an example. That is a form of significant connection where they say, this is mine. I own it. Very, very few rollouts of processes include agreement to execute it. Don't forget that. The habit ladder is special because of that. It's a game changer, and agreement is a big piece of that.
Yeah, I think this is a unique element here. When we look at the habit ladder, this is something that really stands out that most leaders do not do, at least in a formal way. But I think there are a lot of formal things that you can do. You can certainly document it and that kind of thing. But I really, really love what you said there about the handshake. I think that is a great visual there. Because that is kind of that commitment that people make when they shake hands. They really do connect in a different way, with something. But when you just said, and I don't think I've ever thought of it this way, is that agreement is transferring ownership. I literally have never thought of it this way in the 13 years or whatever that we've been doing this. It absolutely is a transfer of ownership. This is where somebody says, you know what? I not only hear it, but I understand it. And now I agree to it. It cements something inside of you that then is really committing to taking the action necessary to build a skill from whatever I'm learning.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I was in a session once where we were communicating a new process through the habit ladder. And the leader at the point of agreement went around the room. And again, we've already communicated it and we've verified understanding of everyone in the room. Went around the room and individually in front of their peer group and face to face with their supervisor said, do you own this? Is this yours now? And each person said yes. And if there was anybody waffling, it ended right there because they said it in front of their peer group. They said it in front of the organization. They owned it. And it's just that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The head nod and the handshake, I got it. This is mine. Thank you, is a huge deal. And again, this is missing in 90% plus of all changes of processes, rollout of new processes, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And it's a big deal.
Yeah, something that occurred to me when you said that about walking around the room and asking, if they, are in and agree to it and that kind of thing. That's a powerful exercise. And so there's risk there. There's people who would just tell you what you want to hear. But I think the important thing is to understand and communicate that, you as a leader own this communication. You as a leader own the training. This closing the knowledge gap is really what you're doing. You own this. And if there's somebody that doesn't agree, you need to look within and say, okay, so what am I missing? Did I not communicate it properly? Did I not validate understanding? How can I be better with my behaviors to help this particular person understand it and agree to it?
Yeah, I've seen a number of different things here that were impactful to me. Another one that occurs to me when you're saying that is, I was in a session where when we got to the agreement point, the leader had a giant poster at the front of the room with the name of the new process rollout in the middle of it. And he asked those that were in agreement to come up and sign it, and that he was going to put it on his wall in his office. And this was incredibly powerful. Every single person got up and signed it. Yeah, there was some peer pressure potentially there, but knowing that the boss has this on the wall in their office means I've got to be in. I've got to be in. And it was powerful. There were tears in the room. There was certainly people that were truly bought in for the long haul, and it was powerful. So consider that as a tactic to create connection. They connected. They signed their name. It was special.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing it does, it shows that you are committed to it. When you ask for everybody's agreement to it and you ask them to come up and sign a poster that you're going to hang in your office, it shows your level of commitment.
Yeah. And when you're all in, it creates a connection with the team.
Yeah, definitely.
So the fourth step is practice and feedback. Well, this is a connection tool like none other. Think about it. When you're practicing and giving feedback, that's connection. And it feels good because as you do that, the team gets it. And this may take some time. It isn't like it happens in 5 minutes. It may happen over a course of months, but it creates connection, and a true connection to this process that you're going to achieve habit level in. So practice and feedback is very, very much T times M equals P. It's you working to increase the talent level of your team, which automatically increases their mindset because they know you care and that you're working to better their performance in their career. So practice and feedback is incredible. And it's not one size fits all. It needs to be individualized. Not everyone learns in the same way. Not everyone learns at the same pace. I know this is your forte, Brian, so I'll let you speak to it.
Yeah. Well, this is one I'm just so passionate about. Practice is key to, of course, building your skill. So everything that we talked about so far is building knowledge, and now we're building skill. Along with it is we're building commitment in many different ways. Certainly the learner's commitment to whatever we're having them practice as far as their tasks or what have you, but also you're demonstrating your commitment to them and their growth by providing the feedback, by standing alongside them as they stumble and helping them stand again, standing alongside them and helping to celebrate their successes and big wins. That shows that you are committed to them and their growth, their learning, and just, that connection. This is just one of those powerful things that you shouldn't shortcut. Oftentimes, this is the thing that's, there's the least amount of time is dedicated to it, it seems like. One other thing I want to mention here too is that role plays. When you think about a training workshop and you participate in a role plays are not this practice level. That's not what we're talking about. Role plays are actually part of the communication and understanding levels. So when you're dedicating time for practice, think about the time that's necessary to really move someone to a habit level, and think about the connection that's required to get them there. Role plays is just an activity that you do during the communication and understanding levels.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, practice and feedback. You need to take your time. You need to individualize it, but it's incredibly important as it relates to the habit ladder.
Yep.
So the final step is habit. So we've achieved habit. We've achieved a level of execution that is significant. This one's big, because in habit level, you can learn from those that are there. Ideally, you're getting the whole team there, but within that group, you're going to have mentors and models. You're going to have those that are at the being level of habit, and you can learn from them. So as you observe those that are exceeding the expectation, that are the leaders here, you can learn from them, because what they're doing can be spread to the entire organization as you learn. So remember that that's a key part of connection here. As you learn from them, everything can change. It feels so good for them to be at habit level. That's connection in and of itself, but it also will feel fantastic for you to take what they're executing and spread it elsewhere. It makes them feel important, and it literally changes careers and causes longevity and tenure within the team. And it's a big deal. And again, it affects the execution of everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. The habit level, as you're describing that, how that builds connection. It's interesting when you look at it that connection it's not just a one-way street, right? So you're building connection in both ways, from them to you as well. And by being open to them, the people that are living at that habit level, at that being level, connecting with them, setting them up for that, and then allowing yourself to be open to learning from them. That's what really solidifies that connection.
Yeah, when the leader says, I appreciate what I've learned from you today, and it's a game changer.
Yeah.
So it creates a connection again that can't exist in another way. But also using those that are at the height of habit to mentor others within the organization to help get them there, again, creates connection. So the habit ladder is incredibly natural in terms of creating connection. It's a tool that when a leader uses it, it changes their leadership, it changes their results, and it changes the connection they have to their team.
Yep, absolutely. This is a powerful tool. Like we've said at the beginning, this is one of the most impactful things that we teach. In our workshops, we go into a lot more detail and we create, different activities around it. But we just know that this process you can start doing right away today, just from what we shared here.
Yeah. Let's get rolling.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And it's in Gapology for any of you that haven't seen it yet. We've done a separate podcast on it, but not a podcast about connection. And this was significant.
Yep. This was good, Mark. All right. Thanks,
Brian.
Yep. Thanks
Great
for everything.
Work.
All right. You too.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
All right. That'll do it from here. For more information on the Habit Ladder or anything from Gapology, IMBAR, or Speed of Purpose, head on over to our website, gapology.org. Everyone have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you soon.
This has been a Gapology Institute production. Visit us at gapology.org.